My name is Paula Ferrada. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share with you how I use RevMan. RevMan, don't let it intimidate you. It sounds like something fancy, but it's really not. It's just a software. All that you have to do is go to the Grade Pro page, and that will give you the latest software, so you can download it. And what this program does is that allows you the opportunity to create a forest plot, which you will need if you're doing a guideline. So the first thing that you have to do is download the program from the Grade Pro website. After you download it, the second thing that I would recommend to do is to add all the articles. So you have here all your studies that you're adding to your comparison. This is just an example. For example, you wanted to add your study. You put the name of the first author. This is not letting me add because I already have one that is called East. It turns red, so if I put East 2, then it lets me. And then you add the year where that study was published. Even though this is a mock, I'm going to erase them later. And then once you have your entire bibliography of the things that you're going to compare, then you can go ahead and start your comparison. So you can see that I have several articles here because I was producing a forest plot for another guideline, but it's pretty easy if you want to add more studies. I'm just going to add a mock one so you can see. So it says add study, so you can put whatever you want. We're going to say East East. This is just for purposes of today. And then it tells you publish data only. Yes, that's all what we're going to use in, and year, so you can identify it, because sometimes there's several authors that publish in the same subject, and you want to know which article you're referring to, and then you say finish. Then let's say you finish placing all the articles that you want to add in your forest plot. Then you go to your comparison and see what is it that you're comparing. Here you can see one that is already produced, but I'm going to show you how you're going to produce it. So I'm going to say I'm going to add an outcome, and we always do dichotomous because in our guidelines we're comparing one versus the other, A versus B, right? So for example, when we did the C. diff guideline, early versus late surgery, reduction of mortality, or well, let's try to do this. So let's say that we're doing C. diff and mortality. So group 1 will be early, group 2 will be late. In that way, it tells us what are we going to do, what are we comparing, and we usually do odds ratio and fixed effect. And I usually do 95 and 95 as well. Here we go. And we say finish. So in order to do this, we go to the text to review, and we're going to add, find where I'm sorry that I have a lot of them, but we're going to add study data. So we say we're going to add the one that we just placed, for example, East, and it's going to give you add the data. So then you have to it's not letting me do it. Let's try this one. Add study data. It's not going to let you add a study that you already have placed, for example. So then you probably doesn't let me. Okay, it didn't let me. So you add the study data, and it tells you, and then it divides it by events. So for example, in this one, we are going to say that events we're comparing, for example, non-operative treatment versus operative treatment, and we're talking about mortality, for example. This is just a mock. So we're going to say in non-operative treatment, we have 8 patients and 0 of them died. And in operative treatment, we have 17 patients and 17 of them died. Then it gives you a number, and you start adding it for each article. This is a manual adding of the data. And at the end, it produces you a forest plot. Once you go to your figures, for example, then the reading your forest plot is not that hard. It's basically is already telling you your figure which one does it favor. Does it favor this side or does it favor this side? This is, for example, has a lot of differences, but they all fall in the same one, right? That's what you're looking for. You're looking for hopefully having one that has an effect that falls on the same side, favoring either experimental or control, whatever is it that you have named your intervention.